Hello everyone, welcome back to a Tonka video. It's been a while since I made a video, but in this one I'm going to be disassembling this head unit out of a 2005 Lincoln Navigator. If you recognize this head unit out of any other Lincoln from the about 03 to 2007 era, this is the head unit that will usually come in it. Now I'm going to be taking this apart and showing you how to take this apart, and while I'm doing that, hopefully I can edit this well enough and explain some interesting things about this as I'm doing so. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is to separate these two shells from each other, but first, to do that, we need to remove 4 screws holding this colored bezel to the body. There's 2 here and 2 on the other side. Now this ISK is a 6-disc changer, so be extremely gentle with this thing when you take it apart. I can tell this has never been taken apart before or repaired in any way, as far as I can tell, just because of the condition of the heads of these Phillips screws, especially these 2 that I'm going to take apart in the corner, just because they aren't twisted or torn in any way. The head is in pretty good shape, so you want something that fits them to remove them, and they're really on there. So you want to apply force and remove them at the same time. I read some time ago that a person was buying a brand new Lincoln Town Car and they were optioning it out, and they did not option the navigation because they thought that it was just more things to fail. And there is some truth behind that, but if you buy a luxury car, don't you kind of want everything there is? Navigation from the time, especially in-car navigation, had to be pretty nice, and this was also expensive. Now that we have the 4 screws removed from this bezel, we should be able to loosen the top portion of it and pull it away from the body. There, that's good enough. To separate these 2 halves together, one side holds the motherboard, the other side holds the 6-disc changer assembly. There's these arrows pointing to all the screws you had to remove. See here? If you can even see them. So we're going to just start removing those, and then hopefully we can push this out of the way and pull it up. I've done this a couple times when I had to replace my 6-disc changer. I repaired it once and had to replace it completely another time, and since I did that, it seems to be working now. I had to do a lot of reverse image searching on Google to find the one I could buy, but there is a website out there that sells them. If you're interested, you can leave a comment and I'll probably reply to you if anyone's interested in doing this. It is possible to do yourself, as I have. Now with this head unit is compatible with, if your car, your Lincoln, has this exact same head unit with the same buttons, the front color can be different. It can be black or this kind of bronze color. If it has that, then you should be able to technically take this from, let's say, this one came out of 05 Navigator, 05 Lincoln Navigator. I should be able to take this and slap it in a town car, and it should work flawlessly, except for, the color up front. But that is replaceable and swappable, as I have done. And that's what's nice about this thing, is that it's, you can swap it easily. The navigation control computer is different, so I don't believe you can swap those. They have to be from the same car. But with these head units come quite a lot of problems. I own 2 of the different types. I own 2 06 Lincoln Town Cars. One of them has the 6-disc changer option with the audiophile sound system, the sound mark, and this one, which is the premium option, or I should say the most expensive option, is the navigation system. This has a couple problems. First, the 6-disc changer inside of this navigation controller unit, this goes for everything that looks exactly like this, I'm saying this for all of them, is a different design from just the regular 6-disc changer without navigation. It is completely manufactured. This one's made by Pioneer, and as far as I can tell, you cannot swap between the navigation and the non-navigation 6-disc changers. And why am I saying that? I'm saying that because this 6-inch changer seems to go out a lot more frequently than the other options you could get. That's why there's people on eBay who will repair such an item. Now we have all the screws that it says to remove with arrows, so we should be able to pull this to the side this way and then lift up on the top. Oh, well, I'm sorry. First we got this cover plate, but if you're following on, I hope you can forgive me. It's been a little bit since I've done this. And there you go, the top plate is off. It looks like somebody did have some discs in here, but we are not going to remove them because I would have to plug this in. There is ways we could remove this, but this disc changer might be completely functional, and I don't want to ruin that because these can go for about $200 if you know where to find them. And if this one works, then it should be a drop-in replacement. So this is the first half of this portion, the disc changer assembly, and next is the motherboard. So we're going to figure out how to do that. We should be able to just lift up on this, and then pull this forward, and this up, and this should just come off. There we go, like so. And there is a clip here on the bottom. We want to disconnect that from the motherboard. And there we go, that is the disc changer out. We'll come back to this in a moment. This is the motherboard assembly. Now as I talk about this, I got a bit of a story. So my signature L with navigation, there was a couple problems that it had. The first one was the disc changer wouldn't work at all. It would play only like the first CD it got stuck on, and it wouldn't switch between the other ones. That's the first problem. The second problem is that this mechanism, this front panel slides out and back in. It's all mechanical and it's pretty nice. It's driven by this gear motor, which has plastic gears that are coated in some grease. Personally, from what I have seen, I've never seen this mechanism right here fail. But what I have seen is this screen mechanism will get jammed. And there's a couple reasons for that. This first one is that this is the only movable point, well, that it moves the motor back and forth, or the screen. There is another attachment point right here on the bottom right hand corner, and it can get stuck. So I'm going to also show you how to remove this screen assembly so that you can repair it yourself, and also you can swap between the screens and the components and then swap the bezel color so it can match your car. So if yours is not working, you can take off the black plastic piece, for example, and then swap it on this one, so that way it will match the interior of your car. Because this is out of a Navigator, and I believe a couple other Lincolns also use this design, but the town car had a black bezel. This one has like a bronze. So now I got to figure out how to pull this down. I forgot to mention the third problem I had was the screen would intermittently go out and then back in, which probably means either a bad connection or a bad motherboard. But as far as I can tell from me swapping components between a known working one, this motherboard originally that came with my town car was bad, because when I swapped the screens, it still wouldn't work. And the cables, the display cables, is right here. So to move the screen in and out, we're going to put our finger on these gears and just rotate it. You can see that screen moving. And we're going to stop till we can't move it anymore. So it looks like the attachment points are still on here. There's two attachment points for this mechanism to the screen. There's this screw, and then there's this screw, and then this top piece is just a notch and a bezel that's held on. I'm going to show you how to remove that. So once we got this pushed out of the way, we can then remove these screws, these two screws right here. If your screen does not want to move, what I can suppose you could do is disconnect this motor, pull it out, and take pictures of these gears and start taking them apart, because either the gear mechanism is catching on something, or the main culprit is this screen is catching on something that it's not supposed to. But you have to at least push this out a little bit so that way you can see these screws, because that's really the only way to get the screen out. You can also disconnect this bezel, but for this bezel to come out, we need to remove this screen. Now we got both of the screws out. We're going to grab a flathead and apply on that point where the screws were pressing against, which is right here. There we go. The screen is out of its movable joints. And now if we push one side down while keeping the other up, we can remove this notch right here, and then we can just pull this out. And there we go. The screen is more or less detached from its connection points. But the last one is this display cable. So I'm going to go in from the front and disconnect this latch. There we go. And this is the screen. This is the motherboard and its mechanism to move it. We should be able to slide this back and forth freely. There we go. You can see that all rotating using all of its gear deductions. If you're putting this back on, I do recommend some sort of grease for these gears because they had them from the factory, so might as well apply some. And to remove this decorative plate, there's another connector latch we need to disconnect here in the corner. And we also can go at it through the front. There we go. Now with that out, we should be able to this clipped on from the rear, but if we move this up and down, should be able to disconnect it. From the bottom, I think I remember how. Okay, there we go. Seems like it was latched on with 2 points here and here on these. Should just bend it and then pull. And this is the disc selector assembly. There's a circuit board on the back that's held in by about 8 screws that you need to remove. And then once that's off, you can take this and then swap it. These buttons come out. Actually, I might just show you how to do that. For me, I just swapped this entire assembly over because mine was black. And then I would grab the black one and push it in. There we go, it's falling out. There's our bracket. Here's our assembly with LEDs. That's what I like about Lincoln in this era, is that they use LEDs. I believe the DTSs did it well, but my 05 Malibu had a lot of incandescence. So these are engraved buttons with LEDs on here, and the overlays are simply things to be pushed, which these also come out. But so we're going to put this back together. Next, the main course, this screen. This has some weight behind it. This is a metal backing plate, as well as many screws. I believe this screen, especially these LCDs, these old ones, contain mercury inside of them, so do take caution when doing that. Also, definitely when shipping them. There's warning labels on the door jambs if your car was equipped with this. So to remove these, we got a couple of screws. We got these 2 big ones, and then these really small ones holding this flat ribbon cable onto the assembly. Okay, I think I am missing something. There's these 2 very tiny screws on the side. Probably remove those as well. Forgot one on the bottom. Looks like there's some plastic push-in retainers. I might have to disconnect a here on the bottom. My, this really wants to come apart. There we go, just held on by a lot of friction. There's our backing plate. And disconnect this cable. Here's our screen and the bezel I was talking about. See how this bezel kind of flops around now? These buttons and this volume lever, as well as this open and close button, are all held on using about 4 screws and a ribbon cable. If you really want to keep those as well, if the buttons are faulty, you simply disconnect this ribbon cable, remove these screws, and then this circuit board pops up. Right here is the mercury screen. Definitely some heft to it. Made by Toshiba, Display Technologies Limited, made in Japan. This entire assembly was assembled in Japan, and probably some of the screens too, made by Pioneer Corporation. Thank you, Lincoln Contracted, for this. So, that's it. You can put this thing back together now and start installing it. There we go. I believe this screen is all put back together now. Well, we got this taken apart at the moment. I guess we can start by slowly assembling this back together. There we go. Got it clipped in. We start with our screen. Same way we took it back out. Put it in from an angle and then work the other one in it. There we go. That is installed. Now, for the front part, the ribbon cable. So from the bottom, ribbon cable is installed. Now we can go ahead and attach these mounting points. Make sure the gear mechanism is fully pushed out, and then we can attach these points. And with that in place, we should be able to then retract the screen. Push in just a little bit to help. There we go. That screen is now put back and installed. Now let's talk about this 6-disc mechanism. As I said before, this is different from the other standard non-navigation 6-disc changer. Completely different design. I looked at it, trust me. I tried swapping them before. This definitely looks a bit daunting, but only thing you need to realize is that this is basically held on. It's just suspended in like some goo and 4 springs. To disconnect this from each other, you probably want a little tiny thing of tweezers and a small precision screwdriver set, because you need to remove these 4 springs on each corner, and that will slightly lower this disc changer mechanism. Next thing you need to do is that there's a bracket kind of inside a bracket. Well, what I'm saying is basically every screw you see here on the side, remove them. Every one here, remove them. This is a data board on the back that communicates with the motherboard. And there's also some ribbon cables here on the side of the mechanism. Right down there. As of before, this does look daunting, but it is doable. Also, if you're doing this, there's 2 screws buried inside of here. One right there, and a little also in the same position, just perpendicular to it. And the same goes for the other side. Remove that, and then these two pieces will basically separate from the main housing bracket, and then you should be able to just grab this disc mechanism assembly and pull it out. Now, I said this is suspended in some kind of goo. That's because there's these, I don't know how to describe it, kind of like bushings right here. This thing that my precision screwdriver is hitting, that's kind of like one of the bushings. Most likely, this is so sensitive that they have to incorporate some sort of dampening material. There's another one right here. These have little nipples, the disc changer mechanism, that simply pushes into these little bushing type things. Or alternatively, you could probably, if you find another navigation system, probably just take the entire half assembly and just drop it into the other one, hoping it works. So front would be this opening, but first we probably want to connect this ribbon cable back to it. If you disconnect it from the motherboard, it simply pushes into place. We should be able to move this front bezel a little bit forward, and then slowly but carefully drop this upper half into place, like so. And with that done, we can begin putting this back together. There's a little notch right here we want to slide into that front bezel. And then we can simply drop this into place. There we go. And then we can begin buttoning this up once again. And we are done. That is mainly how to assemble and reassemble your navigational head unit on your town car, navigator, aviator, any of the Lincolns this got used in. As far as I can tell, this was 03 to 07 is when they used this. I believe this was the Lincoln only. Fords used a different design. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good one.